Okay, it's 11 minutes past 10. I'm going to now start the session. So the guys that are still on the door, they will join us as we go along with the session. Let me go here. Okay, so welcome to the session. So the aim of this session today is to sort of reorient ourselves with regards to the course FOT150S. I'm not alone. I'm going with Dr. Charima and Ms. Ndombi. They will also be monitoring the chat for us to look at questions. If at any given point you have a question, you can type it in the comments section. Then they will read the question for me, and then basically we'll try to come up with the answer. Before we start, I just want to welcome you and also acknowledge that these perhaps are difficult times for all of us. Globally, it's a pandemic, and we are being, in a sense, compelled to come up with new ways of communicating. Under normal circumstances, we would have had face-to-face sessions, but now we have to perhaps dig deeper within ourselves to come up with innovative ways in terms of how we can make sure that we progress and we continue with the course. So I want to acknowledge that some of you may, of course, be facing difficulties and maybe some anxiety to a certain extent, and you're asking yourself a lot of questions, whether you're going to succeed in the course or you should just drop out, or you don't know what's going to happen. So the aim of this session is that perhaps you can find some questions, some answers to the questions that you have, and we want to share with you our approach. On behalf of the HOD, our Professor Van Wyk, and the entire Food Science and Technology Department staff, let me assure you that we are working very, very hard behind the scenes to make sure that we impart to you the skills and the knowledge that are required in order for you to become a successful food science and technology professional at the end of the course. So we are doing a lot of work behind the scenes, and I'm glad that some of you, at least, you have been able to get your data loaded so that we can communicate with you. So as I've said, we welcome you. And in this session, one of the rules, so we've turned off your videos so that we can save your data, and the microphones, they are also muted so that there can be no echo behind. But if you've got questions, feel free to either raise your hand or type your questions in the chat. Most of you perhaps are using microphones or earphones so that it's easier for you to be able to hear us. Right, I'm currently sharing my screen with you. I don't actually know what you see, but I've got a PowerPoint presentation there. Doc, is the PowerPoint presentation live from your side?
Yes, there's FOT150S onboarding session.
Okay, and is the chat also available there, or it's not shown? My side. The chat session. The chat box.
Yes.
Okay, because I'm trying to. Or you can see everything.
Yes, I can.
Okay, no, that's cool. All right, let's move to the next slide. Okay, so this is basically the introduction slide. Then I'm going to go over here. So I just want to show you some of the norms of participating in the session. If you look at the hand that is up there, that is for you if you want to draw some attention to us. And at the bottom, we have the chat where you can ask questions or answer questions or share some comments. And then if you click on the left hand side there, you should see some 3 dots there, and then at the bottom there is an option to leave the session. So we can leave the session when we are done. Just also for your information, we are recording this session so that we can save it for the people that will not be able to access, so they can be able to view it at a later stage. So I've refreshed the session, so everybody should be again logged into the session. Right. Okay. So most of you by now you would have seen this infographic that I've shared through the notices that we've sent to you, and also it has been shared in the WhatsApp group. So these will be our guiding principles as we embark together in this journey of remote learning. For this course, you will require some form of internet for you to be able to access the material. We will deposit most of the material on Blackboard. So Blackboard is where you're going to find all your material, and these course materials will include notes, it will include videos, and also some short clips and presentations, so you can be able to download these materials. So for you to be able at least to keep up with what is happening in the course, it should be good for you to visit Blackboard now and again. So comment that you visit the site within 24 and 48 hours to check in the announcements. So we will also be using the CPUT email and Blackboard announcements. So sometimes when we send in the announcements on Blackboard, we will also have the option to send those announcements to your email addresses. So the CPUT email is the official email that we use to communicate with you. And we have a detailed course calendar which can be found also on Blackboard to outline important dates for you, so that you can be able to submit and also to pace yourselves. So we'll also post some of the videos on Blackboard which unpack important concepts. We are readily available to assist you in whatever way that we can. As you have seen from Sunday or from last week, we've been engaging with you in various forms. WhatsApp, other people have been sending me emails. I've tried to answer or respond to the best of my ability to your questions. So we also encourage that you as students form a network where you communicate with each other, you ask each other questions where you do not understand, because I also think that as students you can form a network amongst yourselves in order to be able to deal with the challenges that you face as students. So we highly encourage that. And of course, one of the requirements, if we have online sessions, you would need some form of microphone or headset in order for you to be able to join the sessions, and also sometimes to listen to the videos. Right. So this basically will be our guiding principles for this course. I'm speaking on behalf of Food Technology 1. Perhaps other lecturers, they would have different requirements depending on the type of courses or of interaction that they want to have with you. I see also Siabonga is there. Welcome, Snigiwe. Sfiso is also online. Welcome, Sfiso. How is Mpumalanga? Sfiso, are you home? I miss Mpumalanga. Let me look at the next slide. So most of the content will be based, as I've said, it's on Blackboard, and you will see everything that we have opened up for you. At the moment, what we want to do also is not to overload you with all the information at once, but we want to release the material at given points in time. I mean, we can't all of a sudden give you 10 assignments. You're going to be overwhelmed. So we're going to give you assignments. Once you've submitted one assignment, then we give you another, and so on and so forth. But we will make these available on Blackboard. So one of the things that you would also see in Blackboard is what we call my grades, or a session where you can look at the upcoming submissions that you have. So if you click on my grades on Blackboard, so if you've logged on, and then you will see the grades that are there based on the things that have been marked, the things that are upcoming, and the things that you as a student have submitted. What I also want to draw your attention to is, especially when you have things like assignments or things like journal reflections, there you're going to have what we call rubrics. Basically, a rubric is what tells you what is expected of you. So if you click, these are interactive rubrics. So if you click on the view rubric, it will show you what is expected of you in that given assignment, so that you can be able to perform accordingly. Can I ask that you guys just type something on the chat and let me know, how am I doing? Am I too fast? Am I too slow? Am I really boring, or you missed my voice, or something like that? Can you just type something on the chat to let me know, how am I doing? Am I too fast? Am I too slow? Or you can see the slides, or are you following? I'm going to give you maybe, let's say, 2 minutes to give me an indication.
Kamo Heleng's hand is up.
Do you guys see the chat there? There's a chat box at the bottom. Are you guys with us? I see some hands are up. Can you try the chat? Somebody says the chat is not available. Also, the chat was off. Sorry, people. So the chat is on. Let me know, Ewa, am I too fast? That was the question. Am I too fast or am I too slow? Samira has already responded. Waldo, we are good. That's good. Michal, yes. Okay. So we are back now. That's comforting. Hey guys, let me tell you a story. So this thing is new for all of us. So let's be patient with each other. I'll be patient with you. You also be patient with me. We are trying. It's technology. These are trying times. But okay, all is well. Manza, Samira says the pace is perfect. Maepa, everything is good. Lindelo can also hear us. Okay. All right. Okay. So I was telling you about how you can see now the upcoming work that you perhaps need to submit, so that you can be able to pace yourself and also look at the deadlines, right? I will also share a little bit in terms of tips how you can manage your deadlines as we go along with the course. Right. So some of you might be aware, or some of you might not be aware. For the first time this year, I've also been working very hard, because previously students were telling me that they do not understand certain terms of food technology. They are complex and stuff like that. So we've come up with an idea to have an online glossary for you. So this is also accessible from Blackboard. So it's an online glossary. If there's a term that you do not understand, it's alphabetical in nature, so you can just click on the glossary and then go and look for the term that you do not understand. So you can, while you are busy studying, come up with new terms. What is a monosaccharide? What's a disaccharide? Is it a protein? Is it a carbohydrate? Oh, it's a fat or something like that. Then you can go to the glossary and look at it there and look at those terms. So the glossary is available for you online. It may well also happen that there are terms that are not in the glossary. So you can also let us know if there is a term that you found and it's not in the glossary. We can look it up and then add it for you to be able to understand the material. So the glossary is accessible also there on Blackboard. So now, when we started the course earlier in the year, we shared with you a study guide, and that study guide now has been changed, because none of us could have foreseen the COVID-19 that it was going to come. So we had to adjust the ways of working, and also the ways in terms of how we can deliver the content best to you. So if the font is too small, if you go on your left-hand side, there is 3 buttons there that you can use in order to be able to zoom in your screen. I also don't see really very well here, but yeah. You can zoom the study guide in. So this study guide is, we called it, I think, a remote study guide. It's written course spec for Food Technology 1. I've already shared with you last week, Friday. I just want to put a disclaimer that because everything is new also for us, so some of the things we will modify as we go. So they may happen that the study guide that you currently have, the version that you currently have, will be updated. So if there's any updates that are happening, we will make sure that we share that with you. So the study guide was shared with you, what I just wanted to highlight there is that our contact details are available there on that study guide, especially the emails if you want to send us emails. So the emails are there. So one of the things that you will see in the study guide, some people have already been asking me questions regarding this. There is what we call in the study guide a print material, then we have the practical component, assessment, and online learning. So as a university, one of the things that the university has been saying is that no student should be left behind, and that is basically echoing the message of the Minister of Higher Education, Training and Technology, Dr. Blade Nzimande. So we as lecturers are also cognizant of the fact that not everybody has a device or a laptop or a cell phone or a smartphone or a tablet. So, and other people, as we can see now, they are struggling with internet. So we will have two tracks or two modes of learning. So we'll have what we call the print-based material, and then we will have the online material. So these are two tracks that will go concurrently. Let me just start by emphasizing this point. We are doing everything that we can in order to be able to take everyone along with us. As lecturers, unfortunately, we are not responsible for issuing devices and data and so on and so forth. If I was a millionaire, I was just going to give everybody laptops, but here, unfortunately, I don't have money. So now what we're going to do is we're going to have people who are on the print track and those people who are on the online track. So what we're going to do, I'm going to show you on the next slide. So if you have a stable internet connection and you are able to connect to the internet and get your notes on Blackboard and you're able to do the test on Blackboard, I would advise you to stay on the online track, and then you can submit all your work on the online track. So the people that are going to be on the print material, so these are people that the university wishes to send them as text, either in the form of notes and assignments. So you have to provide the university with your address where they can reach you. So they are planning to print out material that will be sent to you. So what that means is that all the work that you will be doing, it will be work that is going to be offline. Let me put it that way. So your submissions will be offline. Perhaps you can send us an email, or perhaps you can then courier or mail your work back to CPU team. One of the things that we aim to do is also to be flexible. So this remote study guide gives you an estimation of the weeks, and then there is content that you should cover or you should finish in that week, and then there's also activities that you must then complete within certain time frames. So for example, if you had a chance to look at the study guide from 1 to 5 June, we're allocating this time for you to be able to do the revision, because previously we had started studying chapter 1, 2, 3, and a little bit on chapter 4. And then we had those incidences in the department or in the university, and then we couldn't be able to write your assessments because we are preparing for assessment 1 on the 16th of March. So what we're going to do now is we are going to move that assessment to online. I'll show you on the next slide. So that means we're not going to be able to sit down and write in an assessment. So you're going to be able to write it online. So these 2 weeks we had budgeted, these 2 weeks that at most you should be then focusing on the revision for those chapters that you were supposed to write on before the disruptions. Right. So these are the possible weights now. So the weights of your assessments will then also change because things have changed a little bit, and now you will be assessed on what we call a continuous assessment mode. So that means everything that you do will be assessed, will count towards your final mark. So Wayne, so this is where we have the question, what is the difference between what is a summative assessment? A summative assessment is an assessment that covers everything that you have done, or it's an examination which will either indicate whether you pass or you fail. And that type of an examination, a student does not have an opportunity for correction, right? It's an exit. You do the summative assessment in the end. Normally, what we call a FISA. So the FISA is the final exam that you write in the end. So that type of an assessment is called a summative assessment because it sums up everything you have done and then it indicates whether you pass or fail. So this one is going to be a continuous assessment. So you're going to be assessed as we continue or as we progress with the course. Right. Can you say something there in the chat? Are you still with me? So if you are still with me, just give an emoji there to say that you are still connected with us. Okay, Pumelo is with us, Zingiso is with us, Mihlali, okay, Zizo is with us, okay, Siabulela, Siabonga, thanks, Wayne, good, Lindelwa, all right. So, what you see in this slide, these are the possible weights for the people that will be on what we call the paper-based route. So the people who are in the paper-based route, they will receive what we have crafted as case studies. These are case studies which will integrate the various components of the chapters that you would have studied, and they are based on extensive research on real industry based problems. So these case studies will require you to be able to research possible solutions to problems based on the content that we have covered within that time frame. So if you are in the paper-based route, so those case studies will be based on an individual work. So it means each student submit or do their own case studies because, of course, we are physically separated via distance, so we can't work in groups. And then the student would be expected to either email your work or you courier it back to CPUT. You send it via post to the department. So you send all your assignments or all your case studies to the department, right? And we want to have the same deadlines with the online route. However, we'll also be flexible. So you'd have case study 1 and 2 weighing 10%, and case study 3 weighing 10%, case study 4 weighing 25%, and then you would have 3 assignments weighing a total of 40. So there's a breakdown here, and then we'd have the case study 5. And of course, in some cases, there will also be tutorial questions that you have to answer to. And then if you are on the online route, you would then start with an online assessment 1A. So this would generally be the assessment that we do when we are back in campus. And this will cover, of course, as I've said previously, chapter 1 to chapter 3. I just also want to emphasize that on the assessments that will be online, so the assessments will take close to 90 to 120 minutes online. And in terms of availability, because of these circumstances that we find ourselves in, I will try to make sure that the assignment is available for a period of 24 hours. So what does that mean? It means the assessment today is Friday, for example. It can be available from 001 up until 23:59. However, then the student would have, within that day, within that 24-hour period, you would have to complete the assignment between 90 and 120 minutes. So when we went through the training in February on Blackboard, some of you already have seen the type of questions that we ask. If there is a request, I can put up on Blackboard what we call an example of an online test that you can do just for you to practice. I can put up a practice test that you can do to see the type of questions that we ask, but that is not going to count any marks. Yeah, if people feel that they want to request that, you can let me know. I can just put it up on Blackboard as a practice run. Is that a good idea? You can just let me know on the chat if you think it's a good idea. We'll post that for you. Right, so that will be online assessment 1, and then we'll also have another assessment 1B. So assessment 1B again, so it will work based on 3 different chapters. We'll cover chapter 4 to 6, and then we'll also give you the deadlines there. So basically you cover 3 chapters, and then we have some form of an assessment for you. And so assessment 1A and 1B, they will weight around 10%, and then we'll have assessment 2 and 3 weighing 25%, assessment 2 15%, and then assessment 3 it will be 10%. Therefore, once we are done with the assignments, so the other thing that the assessments, then we're going to have the assignments now. So the assignments that you guys will do on the online route, it's exactly the same as the people who are on a paper-based route. So you'd have assignment 1, 10%, assignment 2, 10%, and assignment 3, that will be 20%. So when it comes to the assignments, because we are separated, the idea that I was having is that people should work individually. So somebody is there in Malanga, somebody is in the Eastern Cape, Limpopo, somebody is in George, Mossel Bay, or somebody is in Kun. So you do your own assignment and you upload on Blackboard, and then we grade it, then we give you your mark. However, I also feel that if students agree that me and my friend can work online, we can communicate online, we can work on the assignment in order to share the work, I'm flexible. I will also allow such a thing, right? If 2 or 3 people want to work together in an assignment, that is allowed. However, I would like those people to notify me in advance in order so that we can grant you permission. So you don't just assume that now you have a conversation with your friend and then you assume that the lecturer will be okay. I think it's best that if people feel that they want to work together, let the lecturer know, so we won't have a problem, so we can just keep that on record. So Amo says, can you please explain the online assessment 2 and 3? So what is the question there, Amo? The assessment 2 and 3, that will also be based on 3 chapters each, 3 or 4 chapters each, depending on what we would have covered before that time, right? And then the other thing that we have lastly is the practical mark. So the practical mark will be based on the online pre-practical test. So some of you have already seen the video on PSN Square. What I would normally do, I would provide you with those videos, and you still also to read your practical manual to prepare yourself for the theoretical part of the practical. So the videos will be up, and then after that you will follow that with an online pre-prac. For example, next week Monday you were supposed to do the submit. It was supposed to be the due date for the pre-prac test, but I will since move it 1 week, so you can then have enough time to watch the video, and the test will already be available after this, after tonight or maybe tomorrow or even next week latest. I will have the test available. So from Monday up until Friday or even Saturday, Sunday, you can have the opportunity to attempt the test. We will give you 2 or 3 attempts, and then we take the average, or we can take the highest, we will see. And so then Monday we have the due date. Then after that you submit your test, and once you've submitted the pre-prac test, then you will have another video with explanations covering the practical component. And then after you've watched the video, then you do again the online pre-prac test. So that will form the part of the practical mark. And we also have what we call learning journals. Some of you have already done the learning journals. I received an email from Malakiwe the other day. I'm looking at the journals that you guys have done. So some of you already have the experience in terms of how to write the learning journals. So the learning journals you would also do after completing certain videos. For example, we will give you videos on the chapter on centrifugation, and then you would watch those videos, and then you do an online test, and then an online quiz, and then after the quiz you do a journal reflection. Then that's how you're going to get your marks there. So those marks will amount to 15%. So in some of the chapters, after each chapter, as you see in your remote study guide, it would say complete, read from slide 1 up until slide 24, and then what are the things that you must do? You must do an online test, you must do an assignment, you must do certain things. So it's explained in the study guide. So there will also be due dates for those things, but we will try to open them well in advance for you so that you can have enough time to attempt. Are we still together? Right. Dr. Charima, do you want to add anything from what I've said?
So far, so good.
Okay. Right. Are there any questions from the students from what I've covered so far? Okay. Spiso says, please explain about the case studies. So, Spiso, the case studies will only be provided to the people that will be on the paper-based route. So, the people that do not have any form of access to the internet, to the computer, or there is no network where you are staying or something like that. And if you're in the paper-based route, You would then receive a course pack from the university. I'm not sure when they are going to send the course packs out. The course packs will then contain those case studies, of which you will then complete on a given date and either send an email with your work, or you either have to print out and then you have to courier that and send it to the university. I highly encourage people that I know it's difficult, but I think, you know, to avoid this thing of having to find a printer now, because we are not in the university where you have to print your assignment and whatnot. Try at least to have some form of data. I'm willing to accept things that are sent on an email or things that are uploaded on Blackboard, because you won't have to worry about where am I going to print my assignments once I've typed something like that. And then we also going to have some sessions. If you've got questions, that will be sent to us via WhatsApp, and then from there we can then kind of assist you and answer those questions. So Mandla says, will the online assessments be the same as those for paper-based assessments? Mandla, the paper-based assessments, the paper-based route people will not have the online assessment, right? Because we are working on the assumption that if you are in the paper-based route, you don't have access to the internet. So all of your work will then have to work in one way or another, off Blackboard or offline. Let me put it that way. So your submissions will be based on either you couriering your work to the university. So now you have to send the assignment via postage to the university. And I'm not sure then who's going to pay for that. Don't ask me. I don't know. But then that is the idea, is that then the students will then send us their work. Tumelo says, due dates, are they the same? We aim to have the due dates the same. However, of course, as I've said, we are also flexible depending on also how the country goes in terms of the restrictions. Now I think we're at level 3. If they lower down the restrictions, some of the internet cafes can also be opened. So I don't know. So we'll also be flexible in terms of the due dates. But ideally, in order for you to be on par with everybody else, I would suggest that you work towards the same due dates, so that you cover that amount of work content and then you submit that assignment, or you can do it on your own and then perhaps submit at a later stage. We will see how we can then work around. We can work around that. Right. So some of the questions.
If I can interrupt, sorry.
Okay, continue, Doc.
Immaculate has a question. I don't know to her or to you.
Okay. What is the question, Doc? Sorry, I might have missed it.
Okay, the question reads, Sir, what if you can't submit, I think, through your phone? What happens then? Because mine is really disturbing.
Okay, so you can't submit your assignments through the phone. And then maybe you don't have internet access. I would suggest, the other thing that we were talking about with some other students is that if at least you can be able to type in your work and then you can't submit it through Blackboard, you can then send us an email. You can send me an email with the work, maybe General Reflection 1 on centrifugation. You can send me an email, not really the journal as an email, but you can attach your document as an email and then send it to us. If maybe you have somebody that has a computer at home or your neighbor, you can also request other people to assist you. Sometimes you find that people are also willing to assist us. So if you can't submit through your phone, send us an email, or let's see what other ways we can then look at. Am I answering your question? Just let me know, okay? Say thanks. All right, captured. So the end is nigh, people. So some of the questions that I've received from you via email, some people asked me on WhatsApp, are we supposed to follow a timetable during this period? So I'm going to ask Dr. Charimba to comment on that one. Doc?
Regarding the timetables, are actually not going to follow formal timetabling. This is simply because now we are doing multimodal kind of delivery, and students, however, are advised to look at every subject. You will notice that in the preamble of the subject guide, there is time that is allocated to say for this particular subject, in each week you must spend at least so many hours. So the student can now plan around their own schedule and different hours that are required for each subject. However, I'll also give direction to us regarding that subject, but the consensus is we are not going to have a formal timetable because our kind of delivery is asynchronous. In other words, if it is asynchronous, a student can access study material at their convenience.
Okay, sorry, Doc. There's a message that you are breaking up. Can you maybe come closer to the mic a little bit?
Okay.
I can hear you clearly now.
I don't know if my signal perhaps is. Let me check. Looks like it's 100%. Just to recap, I was saying that with regards, I'm getting a bit of feedback. I don't know where that could be coming from, but with regards to the timetables, we are not going to follow a particular timetable that is official, simply because we are in this multimodal kind of learning, whereby students should look at their subject guide. In the preamble or at the beginning of each subject guide, you will notice that the lecturers have indicated how much time you must spend for that particular subject every week. So that should be your guideline in terms of how you are going to, schedule your time of study. So a student is then able to access the study material at their own convenience. I also said that Prof. Van Veek will weigh in on that subject at a later stage. Thank you very much. I hope I was audible now. Can you give me some kind of feedback on the chat if you understood what I said, or I have to go over it again?
Did you guys capture what Dr. Charimba said? Just send us an emoji if you heard everything. Just a thumbs up, thumbs down. If you did not hear, then we can repeat. Okay, Sfiso understood. Lindelwa understood. Tumelo understood. Mandla. Nontando, you are here. Welcome. I didn't see you in the beginning. Nice. Snalo, you are also here. It's good. Bengu, you didn't travel. Are you home? Are you in KZN or here in Belleville? Zingiswa is also here. Wayne is here. Oh, Bengu, you are here. That's fantastic. Malakiwa is also here, Sigalelwa is here. Okay, right. I think the timetable issue is sorted. So what we are saying in summary is that you as a student, depending on the circumstances, you will time yourself, but we advise you that at least you spend the time that is estimated in the study guide. So I think 7 to 8 hours a week for food tech. You can dedicate that. In terms of how you want to split the days, it's up to you, right? So some people are saying, what about practicals? So as we know that COVID does not want us to be together, I think this COVID is very jealous, because I was looking forward to have the practicals with you guys, doing peanut butter, doing stir fry, and doing mayonnaise in the plant. At the moment, there are talks that perhaps we could move the practicals that we're supposed to do to second year. You can do it in FOT150, or alternatively, now what we are trying to do is that at least with the pre-prac test, you would have the basic theoretical underpinnings of those practicals, and then you can have refreshers, or they can also be incorporated in FOT150 next year. However, this will still also be confirmed. So, can I switch from paper-based to online route? This is a very difficult question to answer at this stage, because the assignments or the structure, as I've shown you in the previous slides, so the paper-based people would be people that would be completely working offline. They don't have access to Blackboard or something like that, and then we will give you material based on that. So it will have to take exceptional circumstances for us to then allow you, if you have chosen the paper-based route, to come back now and join the online component, because of course then now in some of the work you would have missed either journal reflections, or you would have missed online tests and stuff like that. So it becomes a really messy and complicated process. But we'll also see what the university advises on that. Will we go back to campus? At this stage we are at level 3, and then they said there is only 33% of the students that can be allowed back, and the university is prioritizing exit level students, students who are doing 3rd and 4th years. So for us this year, unless we go back to level 1, there are no indications yet in terms of whether we are going to go back to campus anytime soon, of which is very sad, because I was looking forward to work with you guys. Should I still do the tutorials even if I'm on the online route? Yes, the answer is yes, a big yes, because the tutorials that you have in those documents or end of chapter, so those tutorials should be used to solidify very important components. And some of the questions that appears on the online assessments, or also in the assignments and case studies, are questions that come from the tutorials that we have given you, right? So, or in some way, the basic components comes from those tutorials. So you must make sure that you still do the tutorials. Who should I ask if I don't understand concepts? If you don't understand concepts, send us an email, drop us a line on WhatsApp, and we also advise students that if there is a question that is posed on WhatsApp, I am not on WhatsApp all the time, but I try to answer when I'm online. I'm also advising that students should also provide answers to fellow students. If you know the answer as a student, feel free to pitch in, and we'll try to have some discussions. How will we write online assessments? I think I've already covered that. That will give you 90 to 120 minutes. It will be completely online. And I've also answered the question on summative and formative assessments earlier on. So I also just want to say that I'm also going to use Blackboard discussion boards, where if people have questions, we can discuss them there. If there's comments, you can discuss them there. Okay, Mayeba, I'm still on the screen. You can maybe refresh your session there. Mine is still the same. I didn't touch anything. Right. So on the Blackboard discussions forums, we will then have discussions, and there is marks that can be allocated to discussion forums. So that will be based on purely on participation. The nice thing about Blackboard discussion forums is that you can follow the trend of what the question is all about, unlike on WhatsApp. So anybody else can come up with a new thing or new issue, then we can say, okay, it's good that you are back. Then you can see what was the whole question. So we'll also try to discuss that. So I think that brings me to an end in terms of what I wanted to share with you guys. I know there's going to be questions, so if you've got a question, please type it in on the box for us so that we can answer you before we close the session.
Mr. Mshaisa?
Yes.
There was a question from Sfiso that was, are the online assessment going to be multiple choice or what?
Oh, okay. Let me say there will be some multiple choice in the questions, but there will also be other forms where you have either to match column A, match column B, where you have to fill in the missing word, type in some words. I think there was overwhelming majority that said you want to see the practice test. So I will make the practice test available so that you can see what type of questions will come out on the assessment. But yes, multiple choice also forms part of the assessment, but they are not the only question type that will be available. Are you answered, so? Okay, so the question is, how are the outstanding chapters going to be delivered? Let's take, for example, now we've covered chapter 1, 2, 3, and then we're in the middle of chapter 4, if I'm not mistaken, which was fruits and vegetables. And then there's also chapter 5, the raw material and the process. So how we're going to deliver the content, we have provided on Blackboard the textbook chapters or chapters which are in written form. We've also provided you with the PowerPoint slides, and you also have the tutorials. In some cases, we also have, in addition to those things, we have videos that I've designed. So some of them I designed them last year. So the videos are shared on Blackboard depending on that chapter. So how we're going to deliver, you as the students would watch the video, and then you do some form of a quiz. And then once you've done the quiz, then you have the general reflection to reflect on your learning. I think that's it. Basically, that's how we're going to deliver the content. Also, again, if there is if students, I'm flexible. If people say we like such situations where we can hear your voice, would you please maybe go through the chapter? Let's say, for example, can you refresh us, say, on the introduction to food science and technology? I'm completely available. You are students, you are my customers, so whatever that you want, as long as there's going to be enough number of people. I mean, if there's 2 people, I can't then do a webinar, but we need at least, let's say, 50 people, a majority of the people, so that we can then have the webinar for you guys, so we can then interact like this. I can cover a chapter like this. I don't have a problem to address the concerns that you have. Is that okay with you? Just let me know in the chat if do you feel it's good to have sessions like this where you can hear my voice, hear Dr. Charimba, hear Ms. Ndombi, and see the comments of your classmates? Just give us an indication there on the chat. And then there is one question. Are you going to allow multiple attempts for assessments? For chapter quizzes, yes, we will allow multiple attempts, but for the normal assessment that has like 10%, I think we will have one attempt. Dr. Charim, what do you say? I think we should have one.
Yes, I hope you. I'm using now my headset. For that, I think the attempts that we're going to give would be a single attempt. However, we can still allow for flexibility if we see it necessary. At the moment, we're just going for a single attempt.
Okay, that's good. All right, I see there's a number of people that says they want to hear my voice. Come on, I need to eat codes so that my voice can. Okay. All right, I don't have a problem. I will try by, let's say, next week Thursday, let's say 10 o'clock, to set up a revision session for you to look at the 3 chapters that we've covered. So perhaps we can then come again at 10 o'clock and then have a discussion. Do you think Thursday can work? I think Thursday works fine for me because I normally don't have meetings on Thursdays. Oh, Mandisa, welcome. I didn't see you in the beginning. You're finally in. Good. Okay, mostly chapter 2. Okay. All right. Yes, Mandla, most definitely. Okay, the other thing that I just want to say, because now we are away and we actually have shorter times. So our sessions are not going to last more than 2 hours. So I would request that if we have a session, for example, like a revision, you guys come up already with your questions so that we can be focused, and then we just go straight into the point than us repeating what you already know. And maybe it could also be good that I will open the discussion board on Blackboard so that you can then start to post those questions well in advance before we have the sessions, so that by the time we have the sessions, we can then answer your questions correctly. And we would also have to prepare and look at the questions that we are asking. Right, next week Thursday at 10. Okay, rather Thursday than Friday. Okay, Thursday Cape Chat. Right. Okay, so I think we have come to the end of the session. Again, I just want to say thanks to Dr. Charimba and Mrs. Ndombi for joining us and looking at your questions. And also thanks to you guys for making time. I know it's not easy, and I completely understand. I've heard your cries, and I've seen some emails from you, so it's not easy to navigate yourself during this time. But as we always say, your why is strong, so you can overcome any difficulties that you face. And I would also encourage that let's be positive. You know, it's easy to be negative when things don't work out, but let's try to be positive and to be optimistic, and just also know that everybody else is trying their best. And also let's be kind to one another. Be kind also to the people who are closer to you. Be kind to yourself also. These are not normal times. These are times that are challenging for everybody else. But let's stay positive. Let's stay calm. If you pray, give some time to prayer. Do yoga, or jog and clear your head a little bit. Of course, if you go jogging, put in a mask, and just stay positive. Listen to good things, good music. Listen to jazz or listen to amapiano if you do. And try to keep yourself motivated and be positive. Mostly importantly, also I encourage you, as one another, as students here, you must start to form a network amongst yourselves. Start to talk within yourself, and also assist each other where you are. If somebody else has data, you can then transfer data to another. Share notes, share resources with one another. We are in this thing together, so nobody should feel like that they are left behind, or you are working alone, or you're walking alone. My English has expired now. It means I've spoken well enough. Pontine has a question. What is the question, Pontine? Okay, session once a week will be fine. Noted, most definitely. Yes, mostly chapter 2 noted. Thursday good, Thursday is fine. Yes, Pontine, I don't see your question. Can you maybe retype your question again? Will this Monday's test touch all the chapters on Blackboard? No. So that test would have been based on the Pearson Square. I will then change the due date and make the test available. So it will be the following Monday, but it only covers the Pearson Square. It's a pre-practical test. We'll provide a demo test before the assessment to give us a clear idea, so we can accommodate ourselves before doing it, since it will only be one attempt. Mbumba, yes, welcome. I will. That's the example of practice test I was referring to. We will make that available for you. So we need, for sensory evaluation in chapter 2, we need your voice. Okay, we will also look at chapter 2 for sensory evaluation next week. Right. Okay, give me a hand signal if you guys enjoyed the session, and if you've got questions. We have like 20 minutes more, but if there are no questions, then I will have to close the session to allow you guys to go.
Mr. Mshaisa,
yes,
there was a question from Nondando. She was asking, can you include the tutorial questions as well in these sessions?
Yes, we can also do that. I'm open to ideas. We can also do tutorial sessions. Okay, that's good. We are trying to record the sessions. I'm not sure if it's going to work so that we can share it with others, but hey, we are learning. It's a pandemic after all. Nothing is perfect. So we are trying, but we'll try our best. So we will do our best, definitely. That is one thing I can guarantee you. We will do our best. Dr. Charimba is here. Miss Ntombi is here. We will do our best. And I leave that to you guys, for you to make the list of the work that is due. We've tried to provide that on the remote study guide, so please go through it. I don't want to prescribe a list of dates, because in some cases some of the dates will change, but I would like to give that you guys come up with a way where you can do the list of the due dates of the things that are due. It was a wonderful session. Okay, people also say it there in the WhatsApp group so that you can encourage the others, because now there it's like everything was a mess. Please also tell the other people there that the session was nice. If there are no questions further, you can click on the left side, then there's an exit button where you can just leave the session. Then I will remain so that I can make sure that the recording is saved. Okay, thank you very much. People, have a wonderful weekend, and stay safe, stay home, sanitize, and exercise and eat well. Thank you very much.